Hello and welcome to another Set 21 Deck Idea brought to you by Double Sleeve, where we are going through every single one of the leaders for Set 21. We're here today looking at Frieza. Let's make this the best deck we possibly can as a community. Be sure to comment in the comment section below what you think about this deck idea. If you think we've missed anything, if you would add anything to this deck so we can try and make this as strong as possible. This is one I'm actually really keen for. I think this Frieza is going to be a fun little archetype with the way it reduces the swap cost. I think it's going to have some really interesting turns and has the ability to pack quite a punch. So if you're enjoying the content, please, if you're not already subscribed, subscribe to the channel. We have plenty of content across Dragon Ball, Battle Spirits, and One Piece is our main features. If you like the video, also shows a lot of support as well. So we'll get into the deck profile now. The leader front side of this Frieza has so much text. It's an absolute wall. It has the permanent reduce the skill cost of swap on your yellow Frieza cards by 1 yellow energy. Auto, if you have 2 or more energy, when you activate swap on one of your yellow Frieza cards, you may flip this over to its backside. If you do, draw 2 cards and add cards from your life to your hand until you have 6 left. So you can awaken really early with this if you see your 1-drop. Active main once per turn. Look at up to 5 cards from the top of your deck and add up to 1 return of the Army of Terror or yellow Frieza to your hand. Then shuffle your deck. So being able to draw for free. You don't need to swing on the leader front side. And awaken condition, alternatively, if your life is 4 or less, draw 1 card, switch up to 1 of your energy to active mode. Flipping over to the back side here, we have the same permanent, reduce the skill cost of swap on your yellow Frieza cards by 1 yellow energy. Auto once per turn when you activate swap, draw 1 card. Then auto once per turn when one of your yellow Frieza cards with swap and an energy cost of 3 or more attacks. Look at up to 3 cards from the top of your deck. Use 1 yellow Frieza's army in a combo with skills negated for the turn and place the remaining cards at the bottom of your deck in any order. You'll be able to generate quite a bit of Z energy with this deck, and it also has a Z leader that reduces the swap cost by even more. Let's get into the cards here. I've tried to put them in order from the 1 cost. So we'll start with the Frieza package. Starting 1 cost here has Deflect and Barrier, which is what you want to see with these sort of cards. Obviously, being a swap mechanic has quite susceptible to counterplay to cards that stop it from entering play in the first place. So just something to be mindful of with this deck when you are versing other decks. But overall, if you can get this chain going, once you get to that sort of turn 3 onwards, I think you're going to see some really strong turns, and it's going to be very interesting. Deflect, Barrier, swap 3 for 1 yellow energy. So in this leader, it is actually a free with the reduction of the leader. Auto, if your leader card is a yellow Frieza, when it is played, you may add 1 yellow Frieza with swap from your Z energy to your hand. If you do, add 1 card from your hand to your Z energy. So good to energy fix, to fix cards in your hand from your Z energy. Going into the 3 costs here, and the ratios are something we may need to play around with a little bit. I've tried to make it pretty heavy to make sure you see all the pieces, but something that will probably need to be tested a fair bit. First 3 cost here, we have swap 5 for 2 yellow energy, and the auto is limit 1. When this card attacks, look at up to 3 cards from the top of your deck. Use 1 yellow Frieza's army with its seals negated for the turn in a combo, and place the rest at the bottom of your deck in any order. So again, really good for making that Z energy. Second 3 cost here we have is again swap 5 for 2 yellow, and auto limit 1. When this card is played, choose one of your opponent's battle cards, switch it to rest mode. If that card has an energy cost of 4 or less, KO that card. Moving into our 5 cost, we actually have 3 targets that have swap capabilities. So we have the SPR here, which has swap 8 for 2 yellow and 2 generic. The Z leader, I believe, reduces by 2 generic and 1 specified yellow, so it reduces by 3. So this will become a 1 cost. If you have 4 more energy yellow Frieza with an energy cost of 8, auto limit 1. When this card is played, draw 1 card and choose up to 1 of your opponent's battle cards, ignoring Barrier, and KO it. Nice removal. Active main for 2 yellow energy. Choose one of your yellow Saiyan or Frieza's army cards and play this card from your Z energy and add the chosen card to your Z energy. So again, being able to play this out, if you do want any card in your Z energy, this is a good one to play out from there. Active main limit 1. If you have 3 or more energy and you remove this card from the game, Play up to 1 yellow Son Goku or Frieza with an energy cost of 2 or less from your hand or drop. So this card is going to be really good to help recycle your swap chain. Essentially, you can get out quite a few hits and then dump this one from the game and go straight back into the 1 cost and keep going up the chain again. Next 5 cost we have here is Barrier Blocker. Has the same swap 8 for 2 yellow, 2 generic when you have 4 or more energy. Auto limit 1 if you have 3 or more energy. When this card is played by swap, this card gains dual attack for the turn. Once per turn, when your opponent plays a battle card, choose one of those cards, negate that skill for the turn. So this is really handy to have sitting out on the board. You don't necessarily want to be swapping up to the 8 cost, but this is going to be essentially sort of like your yellow Sin, where when your opponent plays a battle card, you get to choose that card and negate its skills. We have the next one here. So I've actually put this as a ratio of 3-3-2 for the 5 cost. This is the 2 of. Same swap 8 as the other 2. Auto limit 1. When this card is played by swap, choose one of your opponent's battle cards, ignoring barrier, switch it to rest mode, and this card can't be removed from your battle area by your opponent's skills until the end of your opponent's turn. Additionally, if you have 3 or more energy, this card gains double strike for the turn. I think this is more of a, when you're going for game, you don't need to have as many copies in the deck, but it's nice to have a double striker in the mix there. And for 8 costs, I put the SPR variant in because it looks very, very nice. SPRs, they do a great job with SPRs. Deflect, double strike, dual attack, permanent. When this card will leave the battle area, add it to your Z energy instead. So again, you can generate so much Z energy with this deck. Auto, when this card is played, choose all your opponent's battle cards in rest mode, ignoring barrier, KO them, and you can't play copies of this card for the turn. So if you go all the way up the chain, you're not going to be going back up to the 8 cost, but you can go up to the 5 cost again. Active main, limit 1. If your leader card is a yellow Frieza and your opponent has 2 or more energy, and you remove this card in your Z energy, and the top 5 cards from your deck from the game, play up to 1 yellow Frieza with an energy cost of 1 and swap from your hand. So really important there to note, you'll be losing 5 cards from the top of your deck and 2 Z energy, but ability to start your chain again for free. And then with the free, with the reduced swap mechanic, it's going to go a long way to help you go up the chain again. Because we're playing yellow, we have 3 copies of Mecha Frieza Robotic Riposte. You guys know what this card does. Very good floodgate. Also, because we're playing yellow, I wanted to try and keep it in the family as well. So we've got a couple of cooler cards in here. We have Swift Retaliation Cooler, which is your counter for the deck. Just a one of, very situational, but can come in handy. And also note, when you play this card, draw 1 card. And if you had 6 or more cards in rest mode, draw 1 more card. Also put a couple of the winner promo cards, which is Metacooler Infinite Terror. Counterattack limit 1. If your leader card is mono yellow, negate the attack and play this card from hand. Now the permanent here is really handy because it's if you have a Z leader, which there is a Z leader for the deck, or a Z battle card in play, you can activate this card's counter skill from your hand without paying its energy cost. So it's a free negate. Also, you have the permanent Bond 2. This card gets plus 5,000 power and barrier, so it can become a 15k beta for you, and will be pretty easy to get that Bond 2. Going into our sorbet cards, starting off with a 1 cost back from BT12. This is our searcher for the deck. Again, keeping it thematic as much as possible because that's kind of what I like to do. There may be a better option out there, so let us know in the comment section below if you know of the better searcher card for the deck. We have auto. When this card is played, look at up to 5 cards from the top of your deck and add up to 1 yellow Frieza's army card with an energy cost of 3 or less, and up to 1 yellow unison card with a specified cost of 2, which isn't relevant. Also active main for 1 yellow. If your leader card is yellow Frieza, you can add the cutting edge recovery, which this is actually for the life flip Frieza. The next sorbets we have the 2 cost here, which is a counter play. Limit 1, negate the attack and play this card, but then the permanent, if your leader card is yellow Frieza Z leader, you can activate this card's counter skill from your hand without paying its energy cost. So it's a second free negate for the deck after Cooler. Also, active battle once per turn. Choose up to 1 of your yellow Frieza cards with swap, and that card gets plus 5,000 power for the turn, so a nice buff. The next sorbet we have here is just a 2 of. Not as relevant, but I think it still could come in handy here and there. Limit 1, when one of your yellow Frieza cards with swap is removed from your battle area by an opponent's skill, play this card from hand. And then when this card is played, play up to one yellow Frieza card with an energy cost of 1 and swap from your drop area. So you're not always going to have that one drop there, but it might come in handy to sort of reset your chain. So I'll just put it 2 of, just in case you do get counterplayed or anything. It might be a nice one to have in there to help sort of get counterplayed, play that out, and reset your chain straight away, and you haven't really lost anything. We have a couple of the Super Saiyan Vegito. Again, another kind of floodgate. It's a counterplay floodgate. Drops the energy cost if you're during your opponent's turn while your leader is yellow and your opponent has 2 or more energy. You have 2 or more Z energy. Reduce the energy cost of this hand by 7. Might even be healthy as a 3 of, but I'm cautious of deck size, which is why I've actually picked this secret rare for the deck that we'll go over soon. We're at 54 cards at the minute, but when you change ratios, you may be able to drop a little bit and add an extra Vegito. Now, I've gone for the 3-1 split with the secret rare super combo. I was originally going to put in the Super 17 one because I thought that's, it's a little bit more control. I mean, you can't go past how good this secret rare is, but at the end of the day, it's also nice to change it up and just not show the same secret rare every single time. I also thought about the black cooler one, just because you'll be able to drop hand sizes. So I think that might be another good choice for the deck if you choose to go down the more control path. But for deck size, it fits in with the super combo slot, and it helps me keep 1 extra card out of the deck. So that's actually the reason why I picked that one. Now, I've gone for 4 copies of the Return of the Army of Terror. This card is, I think you'd be silly not to have it as a 4 of. The active main, which is a 0 cost, add up to 1 yellow Frieza with swap and energy cost of 5 or less from your deck to your hand, and shuffle your deck. You're finding whatever piece you want with this card. Remember, your leader front will actually search out with your active main. Add up to 1 Return of the Army of Terror. Now that's this card here. So essentially with that, you can pick out whatever card from the deck that you want. Active Battle is also handy. That's a limit 1 for the Active Battle. If your leader card is Frieza, Emperor Who Swore Revenge, which is your leader back, or a yellow Frieza Z leader, and your life is 4 or less, choose one of your yellow Frieza cards. In that gets plus 5,000 power for the turn. So then essentially it's a combo piece as well if you do need it. The 2 of the Realm of the Gods Black Kamehameha, I've gone for a 50-50 split. I think both of these cards have a purpose. They're both great for their own reasons. And honestly, if it wasn't so cost heavy, I would run more of them. But I think a 50-50 split is nice in most yellow decks. Also, 2 of the Frieza's Army Reinforcements. We have a Frieza leader that is a Frieza's Army, so why would you not have your 1 copy of Cold Bloodlust? Such a good card. And we also have our 1 Power of the Super Saiyan, which is amazing. Going into our Z deck here. So we have the Z leader here, which is Golden Frieza Shining Emperor. Z Awaken for 1 yellow energy. And when your life is 4 or less, it also has Z Stack 1 yellow Frieza's Army with an energy cost of 1. So I'll show you that card that links with this card soon. Permanent reduce the skill cost of swap on your yellow Frieza cards by 1 yellow and 2 generic. A 3 cost reduction on swap is insane. The amount you got to be able to go up the chain. So if that's just sitting out there, and this isn't a one-off, and then once you've done it, it negates the permanent for the turn or anything. This is a continuous. So if you've got this Z leader out, you're pumping through that chain like it's nothing. It's just such a powerful asset to have. You can go all the way through from your 3 costs here that cost 2. And you're going straight up to a 5 cost every single time. And the only thing that's costing you is 1 energy is if you choose to go to the 8 drop. So if you can keep cycling that, remember when you're swapping, you're paying that for that 1 cost Frieza. You're putting that back to your hand to play out the 3 cost. All of a sudden, if you've got the next piece in hand, you've got the 1 cost ready to go again. You've just got to pay 1 to get him out and you're back up the chain. The next, so we should go through the rest of that Z leader first. I got too excited there for a second. Auto, when this card is placed in your leader area, draw 1 card and then remove this card from the game at the end of your opponent's turn. That's why we have multiple copies there. I've gone with 2 and may want to go for 3. It all depends on sort of how the game plays out. It will need a little bit of testing. You might want to put this up to 3. I don't think you'll need a 4 of. I don't think it's necessary at all. but you might want a 3 of just in case your turns get shut down. Auto, when this card gets placed in your area, yep, we're going through that. Auto, when your yellow Frieza with an energy cost of 5 or more attacks, look at 3 cards from the top of your deck, choose 1 yellow Frieza's army in a up to 1 and combo with its skills negated, then place the remaining cards at the bottom of your deck in any order. Going into the 1 costs here, so I put 2 of the Tagoma. Auto, when this card is played, you may add 1 yellow Frieza with an energy cost of 1 from your drop to your hand. If you do, play up to 1 yellow Frieza with an energy cost of 3 and swap. Also, the auto, add 1 card from your life to your hand, discard 1 card from your hand, and switch this card to rest mode. When one of your yellow Frieza cards with an energy cost of 3 is played, play 1 yellow Frieza's army token with 10,000 power and blocker until the end of your opponent's turn. The one that combos with the leader here, which is unique, a sorbet. Auto, if you place 2 of your Z energy in your drop, when one of your opponent's battle cards is played by a skill, play this card from under one of your Z leaders and then choose one of your opponent's battle cards with an energy cost of 7 or less and switch it to rest mode. Nice defensive tool there. Auto, when this card is played, look at 5 cards from the top of your deck, add up to 1 the return of the Army of Terror to your hand, shuffle your deck, and then if you add a card to your hand, discard 1 card from your hand. And because Oolong and Yellow, I've just thrown one of them in there, but not really as necessary for this deck. But, you know, sometimes it can come in handy. 1 cost that can pretty much be any power that's out there. If you want to steal the power of your secret rare or one of your opponent's cards, can really come in handy. But overall, that's the deck, guys. Let us know what you think of it in the comment section below. Tell us, would you make any changes? How do you think this deck is going to go? I personally think it's going to be quite an aggressive and control deck at the same time. It's got a lot that it can do, particularly with the Z Leader when you think it combines with that Sorbet. You've got plenty of free negates with the Sorbet and Cooler in this build. Would you include them? Do you think the number should be increased more? What do you think about the ratios? Let us know in the comment section below. And if you are watching and you're not subscribed already, make sure to subscribe to the channel to keep up with all the content that we're putting out, and be sure to like this video. Thank you all for your support, and we'll see you in the next one.